Hi everyone, welcome to the Dolly Talks show. This is Dolly, the creator of the Diversity and Anti-Bullying Academy, and I come on every Wednesday around 5, but today I was running a little late because I had to go pick up my new shirts before they closed. So that's really exciting because I've been wanting shirts to, bring awareness about the Diversity and Anti-Bullying Academy, although I think it's you probably see it backwards or in reverse on your screen. I'm not sure because that's how I'm seeing it right now. But anyway, so so I created the excuse me. I created this show to oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Ooh, okay, I think I got it all out. I created it to share different topics with you because just doing the regular posts every day or, putting my blog out there is sometimes not enough for people or inconvenient for them to, like just because you can't find the time to read stuff. So if you are driving, hopefully you're not watching this, but you're just listening, and or if you're at work with your earphones, put in, that this is the whole purpose of this show, so that you can listen to, different opinions and different types of information. And today I want to talk to you about the idea of failure. And the reason I came up with this topic is because I was writing a blog post about how it is that we arrive at that point where we fear failing at something. Because I listen to a lot of motivational speakers like Tony Robbins, Lisa Nichols, Oprah, like you name it. I listen to them all because I start my morning every day by listening to something positive. And all of them have that same theme about, shifting your mindset about failure. And I was thinking, somebody said something about, you don't realize what something is until somebody tells you, therefore you start adopting that idea. So I thought about that and how it relates to children because as you might already know, I focus a lot on helping children have a positive mindset so that they can have really good confidence, because I believe that having confidence is a way to prevent bullying, because bullies are always after people who look like the weakest link. And also because people don't really expect people who look shy to go and report something when they see it because they seem too scared or something like that, so I was thinking, when kids, when we have our babies, they come out happy and into this world with no expectation whatsoever, but as they get older they start expecting to be fed, expecting security, love, and the freedom to do what they want, and they don't know right from wrong. So they also do not know the meaning of some words, and for a very long time they don't know what failure is. And so I was thinking, because kids accomplish a lot of amazing things, especially when they're really, really tiny. They shock us. Even, if you've had 2, 3 of them, you always are amazed about the things that they do at a very young age. Like one of my nieces right now, she's only 2 years old, but she speaks so well. And I mean, I have 2 kids. They're now 11 and almost 13. And so I've been through that where I was like, wow, you're a pretty smart kid. That's incredible that you can get this concept or whatever. Or like they learn sarcasm from you and then they learn how to use it exactly well, like just very, very well, at such a young age. And so when kids are very small, they try different things. Well, they don't try, they do different things. For example, if they want to get to a toy, they will start dragging their body if they don't know how to walk. And then next thing you know, they're crawling. And no matter how many times they fall, they continue to reach for that goal, for that toy or whatever, wherever it is they're going. And when they want to learn to walk, they put one little foot in front of the other, and they fall time and time and time again. And nobody's there telling them, hey, you failed. Try again. Nobody's there saying that. You know, instead they get a lot of encouragement. They're like, okay, come on, buddy, get up, let's go, do it again. And the next thing you know, they're running. And that's how it continues with kids up until a certain age. And I was talking to my husband about this, and I asked him, what do you think is the age when kids reach that point of discovering fear of failure? I think that varies depending on the type of household you live in, depending on the type of parenting that you get, and depending on the child, because sometimes you do hear things, but you dismiss them. You don't really give them importance. So I was trying to think about me. And, because sometimes we remember, like, oh, I remember when I discovered that the world was bigger than where I lived, I remember the moment when I discovered the sense of time. Like, yeah, I remember when I realized I was, called Latina, and that there were other people that were called other names depending on the skin color, that they have. So, those aha moments that you have as a kid. So at what point do you think is the average age when kids discover the meaning of failure? And if you have children, have your kids discovered that? And how have you taught them to embrace the meaning of failure? And I think it's very, very important to ask ourselves that question, because how we present the meaning of that word can affect the way that they think about the things that they attempt and not really succeed at, or partially succeed at. Because what I'm aiming to do here is to help create an early start of the understanding that failure is simply kind of like a try again, like do it in a different way message, because when kids are told, oh, you failed at this, they get very, very discouraged. They're very fragile. I mean, heck, even some of us adults are very fragile when it comes to that. But if we can teach them that failing doesn't define them, then you can continue to have that confident child that is fearless. Like when they want to jump into the pool and they can't swim, but they throw themselves whether you're ready or not to catch them. All right? Some of you, I'm sure you can relate. They're so fearless. They have no idea of what could happen. And in a way, that's a blessing, because they'll try so many things and discover, like my girls, they taught themselves how to swim because they would do that. They would just throw themselves at us, and whether we were ready or not, we better be ready to catch them. But they throw themselves in without any fear whatsoever, because they had that confidence that they could do it. Because it seems easy when you're a kid. Everything seems easy. It's like, oh yeah, I got that. And then they had the confidence that you were going to be there for them in case it didn't go as planned. Not failed, just not go as planned. There's a difference. So when they get that first quiz and they don't do so well, how do you approach that? What do you say to them? Do you scold them, or do you tell them, well, let's see what happened here. Okay, try this again. Or do you want to, like when they're reading, do you want to read that out again? Read it out loud? Do you want to sound it out? Or, instead of okay, that wasn't right. Instead, try to change that language to something more positive. Thanks. My husband's online saying nice shirt. Thank you so much for getting them for us. So yeah, he very professional. Yeah. He actually, these were made by a military veteran who owns his business, and I think I have his card right here. Ooh, and I have your wallet too. Yeah, Jason Rhodes, redesignedclothing.org. I'll share this later. But anyway, so going back to failure and kids, so we have to find a way to make sure that when they get that bad grade that they're not happy with, that they don't feel like it's gonna define them. Because I remember that first time, I mean, schools, I don't know if it's schools in America or if it's schools everywhere, where they really emphasize on getting that A. And then if you get anything lower than an A, then you gotta study up. You're failing. It has become so competitive, and I see kids being pushed so hard, which in a way is really great, but I also see a lot of stress and a lot of self-defining moments for kids, because they really, really put a lot of weight on those A's and A pluses. They really put a lot of weight on excelling at everything that they can think of. And I think that it's really, one of the reasons why so many kids are experiencing anxiety and depression and lack of self-worth, because they're just being held up to this really high standard. And I think it's too much. And it all comes down to that idea that you must be best of the best. I mean, everybody wants to be the best, but we also must teach them that failing at something is also learning good things from that experience. I mean, I certainly would not be here if I would have not failed at my first business. And if you all know or don't know, I started in 2010 with a luxury custom chopping block business. I designed these beautiful chopping blocks. I had prototypes made. I filed for the patents. I went to a few expos, and I just flopped. I've sold a few. For some reason, I sold some of the really expensive ones rather than the cheaper ones, but I learned a lot. I remember feeling horrible and embarrassed that I had failed at making it grow. I mean, I even had like QVC call me because they were interested in carrying my two lower end ones. And I was so excited, but I just could not meet their requirements of having such mass volumes at a very, very cheap price, something that I totally couldn't afford to have it made here in the US. And so I felt like I was like, maybe I'm just not business material. And I remember catching myself, or somebody told me, well, my husband's always been my what's the right word? What would I call you, babe? I would say, like, you just wake me up and knock me out of that stinking thinking. But what I discovered through that experience was that, yes, I did learn a lot. I remember feeling the excitement from putting in all those hours and creating the business plan and planning on what I was going to do. And see, even now he's saying you did not fail. Thank you. And you're right. I didn't fail. I discovered many things about business. I learned about networking. I learned about creating a business plan. I learned about logos and copyright and patentings and drafting, because I was making my own drafts of the designs, and learned how to use oh my gosh, I can't remember now, but the tools to make precise measurements. There's so many things that went into it. I started blogging back then. I started making videos. I mean, this was back in 2010, so technology was not as advanced as it is right now. But all of these things that I thought had been a failure ended up being such wonderful tools that I already had. Sorry, reconnecting. All these tools were so useful when I started creating Dali Talks and the Diversity and Anti-Bullying Academy. So here I am now, and I have been blogging for 2 years, I think. I have created videos, I edit videos, I do all sorts of things, all because I learned that failure that I had actually turned out to be a wonderful thing, because it also allowed me to discover that my passion was not really in custom kitchen chopping blocks. My real passion was to help people. And I mean, I knew that back then, but I got so excited and wrapped up in a moment of like, oh, I'm going to invent something or create something beautiful, that's physical. And here I am today. And I love it. It's not easy. It is hard. It takes a lot of time. But it's something that my family believes in. It's something that a lot of you believe in. I mean, otherwise I wouldn't have, as of today, 492 followers. Woo-woo. And I wouldn't have schools and libraries and other organizations reaching out and asking like, hey, can you bring your workshops to us? So when your child doesn't do as well at something, remind them of what they are being taught rather than what they did not do, because I think that's going to help them have more confidence in themselves, and also it will not kill the joy of doing that task over and over again. That's how a lot of kids lose interest in school, when they're not doing so well according to schools, when they are consistently getting C's. Hello there, Rosalia, thanks for joining. When the teachers, hand over that piece of paper with an F or a D or a C, and they say, try again, that doesn't feel right. Instead, you got to change that language and say, hey, good try. Let's see how we can improve this, because you're doing pretty good. Like, hey, a D is still better than an F, right? I mean, some people might say, well, no, don't say that, because then you're making or sending out the message that it's okay to get a D. Well, you know what? What's his name? Richard Branson, he got D's and F's all the time, and look at how successful he is. I mean, sometimes it's not a matter of that grade. That grade does not define you, because there are other things that you can do. You might not be good at one thing, but I'm pretty sure you're good at many other things. And that's one of the things that I have to always remind, especially my younger daughter, because she's so hard on herself when she cannot, because she's the builder, she's the creator. And she had this robot that you can code to make it do stuff. And I remember that she couldn't put on the head and couldn't program it to learn to spin in circles, and she was so mad. She's like, I just suck, I just can't code. I'm like, no, you got it to do all this other stuff. You know how to do it. You just have to keep working at it and figure it out. And every time that it doesn't work, now you know a formula or a code that doesn't make it do that. It makes it do something else. So you're still learning. Same thing with my older one, because the other one, she's not so much the builder, she's the brains. And the same thing, she's like, she gets an A and she's like, oh my gosh, why did I get an A and not an A plus? Yeah, she's up there. She's really competitive, and she loves seeing that A. But while it's cool that she pushes herself, I keep telling her, like, that A doesn't define you. That doesn't mean that you are smarter than others. that doesn't mean that you're dumb if you get a regular A or a B. So we have to remind our kids also to have humility too when they're doing so well, all that success, because that first time that they have that first failure or that first F or that first B, they're going to be devastated. So it's good. It's good for them to not do so well at something and teach them to embrace it and make them see the positive sides of not getting to that goal, because you're going to learn a lot. Some of my best lessons in life and in my career and my relationships have always been something that didn't go exactly how I wanted it to go. And that helped me learn more about myself and about what I wanted in my career or in my partner or in my children, in my life overall. I'm pretty sure that a lot of you can relate. So that is my message for today, to talk to your kids about embracing failure and about turning around the negative connotation that the word failure has been carrying all this time. You gotta make sure that failure just means this way doesn't work, but this is what you can learn from it. So that's my message for today. Again, thank you for watching. I will be on Facebook at the Dolly Talks Show on Friday at 6 p.m. And our guest is going to be Holly. She's a psychotherapist who will be, she's going to be talking to us about some tactics, some methods to deal with challenging children. I think that every parent has at least one. If you have more than one children, that is one child. And I'm really excited because she has been working with kids for a very long time, and she's really good at what she does, and she's just the sweetest person. So it'll be on Facebook, 6 p.m. I will, check out my link. You can find it there to connect right to it. But if you're looking for me anywhere on social media, my handle is always at Dolly Talks. Also, if you want to order a shirt like this, inbox me. They're $25. And yeah, thanks for watching. All right, have a good one. Bye-bye.